Welcome back to another podcast, the Wives Club podcast.
Episode 2. We're rolling again.
We're rolling with it. This one is crazy dating stories.
And boy, do we have
We've got some crazy dating stories. But first we wanted to, on our first episode, we talked about how we all knew each other, how we met, how we became roommates, the purpose behind this podcast, but we kind of want to do an individual get to know me really quick. So I'm McCall. I am 22. I'm about to be 22 in a few weeks. And I am married.
Yeah, I was like, don't lie.
Not 22. I've been married for 3 years next month. My husband's name is Nate, and I am, how many weeks pregnant am I?
I don't know.
I'm 29 weeks pregnant as we're recording this, but when it
this
goes
week
up,
you'll be 30.
Yeah, this week I'll be 30. So when it goes up, I'll probably be like 31 or 32. But I'm due at the end of July with a boy. And that's kind of, I went to school for interior design and stuff like that. So, and that will be, we kind of want to get into different careers and stuff like that as women and just different things to pursue. So we'll get into our careers in another podcast. Yeah. But who else wants to introduce themselves?
I can go next.
Yeah, go Madison.
So, it's Madison. We also wanted to talk about, that's something with the Wives Club, is we all have different perspectives. We all have a different career path that we took. And so it's kind of fun to get different perspective. But anyway, I'm 24. My husband's name is Dallin. And I have a little boy. His name is Brooks. And he is 4.5 months old right now. He's just learning how to roll over, and he laughs and talks all the time. That's like my whole world right now. And that's also why we started this podcast. I came to Sid one day and I was like, I need a hobby so bad. I'm just at home and it's driving me crazy. So, so we're all kind of becoming moms over here, and we wanted to have something fun to do. I live in Orem right now, but at the end of July, I'm moving to Arizona.
And you've been married for 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
Today.
It's my,
It's our 2-year anniversary.
It's my 2-year anniversary. We talked about that in the last one. I know that
we're recording them both. I feel like it's good, though, because now we're, like, in the groove. Yeah. We're, like, ready to go. I'm Sydney, and my husband is Chris.
Christopher Robin.
Yeah, he's got a lot of nicknames around here.
Glenn Coco.
Christy. Yeah, he goes
Christy.
He goes by a lot of names. And we've been married for almost 2 years in the beginning of June. I guess like next week. June came up quick.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. And we both just graduated. He graduated from BYU and I graduated from UVU, and we actually have the same major. We both graduated with a communications bachelor and emphasis in public relations. Yeah, we have the same major. Not on purpose. Oh. Everyone always asks
us that.
But
different path.
Yeah, but
you're not a politician.
Yeah, no. He has a few different minors, and I do too. So, anyway, but we both just graduated in quarantine. We didn't really get a proper graduation, but honestly, I was kind of over it after it got canceled. I cried a few tears, but then it was fine. So, anyway, yeah, we live in Provo, and we do not have any kids.
Living the dream.
I'm a soon-to-be mom someday.
Yet. You don't have any kids yet.
And I forgot to say that I graduated in early childhood education. So I was a first grade teacher for 2 years. I just stopped when I had Brooks. And it was quarantine anyway, so the kids are all being taught from home. So
too bad you didn't see that coming.
I know, I would have just had my job and got paid, but
yeah, that would
I bought some stock and toilet paper too.
So hindsight's
2020.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, last
Sadie.
but not least.
Nope.
Sadie. Okay, I'm married to Lucas, my sweetheart.
He's real mountain man these days.
Oh,
he's a lumberjack.
I showed Chris the picture.
Yes,
sorry, this is kind of off topic, but I showed Chris the picture, your guys' family pictures, and he has a mustache that's literally like curled on the end. And Chris was like, "How does Sadie feel about this?" I was like, "I think she's kind of into it."
I am into it. I do dig it. I tell him, I'm like, you gotta have a little scruff, and sometimes I let him grow a mustache, but I really It's an attractive look.
Yeah, he rocks it. For
He
sure.
can rock it better than any of our husbands could.
Yeah, no, he rocks it.
Yeah, and we are living in American Fork right now. I don't know where we'll be in the next few months. He's currently doing this data science program, and so he'll be looking for jobs the end of the month. So, well, I guess into next month. But we have one little boy, Miles. He's on our last episode.
He had a lot to say on the last episode.
He did.
How old is he?
He will be 6 months in June.
And you've been married for 3 years?
3 years, yeah. 3 years this year. I am a hairstylist. Yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah, that was
How old
good.
are you? Did you say how old you are?
Oh,
Oh, yeah, I didn't say
well, we all, except for Matthew, are 22.
Yeah, I'm 22.
We're feeling 22.
Yeah.
Technically,
It's a
I'm
good
21.
year.
It is a good year.
That's
I
the
feel
year
like it's
I
a
got
really
married.
good age.
Yep. That's a great year.
So we're diving into our crazy dating stories. And I just want to preface that we're not going to reveal anyone's actual names
You know.
because HIPAA, you know.
Because you know who you are. I'm just kidding.
You should all know who you are. No, and I think we also want to like just give some advice. Like, if there's anything to take away from my dating stories, it is, girl, know your worth. You
Yeah.
are better than that. I feel like we just all had such different dating paths.
Some
Yeah.
of us dated like
I-
a long time.
I dated
Yeah.
in high school a ton. I didn't date as much in college because I met my husband pretty right off the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I dated a ton in high school and like to not super great guys, but also some great guys. And I
Yeah.
don't know. So who wants to?
We also when we lived together, we dated a ton, and so it was fun to like, we were all kind of there.
Oh yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
So
I feel like
fun.
we're going to save our first date stories with our husbands for a different episode, because I feel like there's
Yes.
so much backstory
Yeah,
that
we're
could
not
go
going to talk
into
about our husbands.
each of those. These are, so just so you know, none of these stories are our husbands.
Yes.
It didn't work out.
Okay,
All right, so I'm gonna kick it off. Wait, which one did you say you wanted me to kick it off with?
I just said yours are in
Oh,
high
'cause
school.
mine's high school.
So we can
'Cause
talk
mine's-
about high school experience.
Ew, I'm looking at the
And-
list of the ones I've written down and I'm already cringing. I cannot.
Talk about the good one first.
Oh no, that one needs to be the one that breaks it all up.
All right. Do your horrible
Okay,
ones.
so let's just start with this one's short and sweet. So there was this guy, and he and I were in the same friend group, and we really liked each other, but we like only hung out in the group, and we didn't go on dates or anything. And he asked me to prom. We hadn't kissed, we hadn't done anything. It was like this, like we both knew we liked each other, but none of us had said it. It was really weird. He asked me to prom. So I was like, oh, this is the time. This is the
it.
moment. Like, this is when we're going to kiss.
And you looked banging
I
at
looked
that prom.
so good at that prom. That's the best
Maybe
I've
we
ever
could
looked
also
in my
put a
entire
picture.
life.
You looked so cute.
It was a
Yeah.
downward slope from there. Like, really.
No, it
Your
wasn't.
prime.
I'm kidding. That night was my prime. So
That
the
night.
boy out there that didn't kiss me, spoiler, that was my prime. You missed out.
You missed out.
So we, prom night, Vegas, very extravagant. If Vegas does high school dances so differently, I feel
Oh
like.
yeah, we don't
Yeah.
go to the dance.
No one goes to the dance. You all do like professional photos.
You go
and then
down
you
to
go
the
to the
strip,
strip.
yeah.
And,
You see it.
Dinner and like a show.
Cirque du Soleil
or-
show.
and you're on like a party bus with all your friends. Like, anyway, so at the end of the night, we go to someone's house. It was like someone's mansion. I don't even know. We're at this mansion and we're all just hanging out. And then it came time to go home. And he had a sports car and he drove home. Okay, we get in the car and I'm like, I decide to put my big girl pants on and I ask him and I say, hey, like, what happened to us? Like, because he kind of avoided me the whole night. It was really weird. And so I was like, hey, what happened to us? Like, do we not like each other? Are we, I just expected something to come out of tonight. And he was like, oh, yeah, I just don't really like you anymore.
Oh.
And he drove home in neutral, you guys. Like
In
my
neutral?
Yeah.
So it was like slow.
Vegas is like kind of on a slope. Like my house was
Oh,
like
he literally
down a
drove
hill.
in neutral.
Yeah, he literally drove home.
Why?
Like
Mysterious.
it on purpose. Like it should have taken like 10 minutes to get home, but it took like 25 minutes
just wanted
because
awkward
he was
silence?
like, I want to see what happens if I drive in neutral. and so it was silent. The radio was not on. Nothing was on. He was
that is so
driving
awkward.
in
Why would he do that?
neutral the whole way home. And I just remember being like, "Get me out of this car. Get."
You're like,
I could walk home. Yeah, faster than this.
I shouldn't have DTR'd at the beginning of the car ride.
No, but
Yeah.
good for
Learn
you
from
for
our
asking.
mistakes.
Don't be afraid to ask.
Oh yeah, I'm an open person.
She is
Yeah, that was
very
good.
forward.
So that's my number. That's,
So
that's the
rude.
first one, but
Literally so
just
rude.
funny. It was just like.
So did you ever find
So
out why
painful.
he asked you to prom then? Like why?
Did he decide that night?
I
He's
guess.
like, I see her now. No, that's not what I
And it was
want.
at my best too. I don't know what.
Yeah, you looked so good.
I mean, what could have gone wrong?
I don't know, because then we were still friends after that.
Did
Yeah,
he go
it's
for
really
anybody else
weird.
in your group?
No, I can't remember.
Huh.
He literally was just like, "Yeah, I don't like you anymore." I was like, "Okay."
Anymore. The
Yeah.
fact that he said
No, because he admitted to have like it. It was weird.
So
It was
weird.
That's mysterious.
Okay,
Okay.
let's. Do you want to keep going,
Or do you
should
want
we-
to
I
switch
think
it
we
up?
should take turns,
Okay.
right?
Switch it up a little.
Should I start with my most horrible one ever?
Yeah,
Or
we
should
could
we say
each
that
do
for
like a
last?
horrible one.
Mine are
Maybe
all
not
kind
your
of
most horrible.
Okay, I'll do a little short one. So I feel like Sadie will know this one best. I feel like I dated a ton in college. Like I went on
You did.
probably like 50 first dates.
All the
like
time.
literally that. Literally
But they
that
were like
movie.
actually cute guys. Mine were always like so
But
not
honestly,
the guy I
like,
wanted to be with.
but it never really like led to anything pretty much
No.
ever. Like I just would go on first dates
And they would just
all the
ghost you
time.
after?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad to admit.
kinda
but
true.
So I feel like I went on a ton of dates, but most of them were good. Like I feel like most of them were just normal. This one wasn't bad, but it was just so funny how it came about. So Halloween in Provo is like the most amazing time.
The place to be.
It is so
Seriously.
fun. It's
If
so fun.
you don't
We've
live
gotta
in
have-
Provo, but you live near Provo, you need to come to Provo for
for
Halloween.
Halloween. It's so fun.
So
The
fun.
year we lived together, like it's like Halloween, honestly.
It
Like
is.
there's a party for like every single night for like the entire week leading up to
we
Halloween.
were
And
the
after.
best roommates. We had
We
a
had
new
like 4
outfit
costumes
every
that
night.
year. Yeah, literally.
It was great.
It's so fun though. So anyways, in the midst, this was the year we lived together. In the midst of us going to all these parties, it was the night after we were dressed up as pink ladies and Sadie was Sandy.
Because Sadie's hot.
Because Sadie
And
was
blonde.
hot. And we had gone to our ward party that night because Madison was Madison was
lame.
the
I was in charge of it.
yeah, Madison was in charge and so was I, so we had to go. And then we went to the party. It was at the Enclave. It was so fun.
That was the
worst
that was the
apartment
funnest party I've
complex.
ever
It was
been
so
to.
fun.
We like walked up and we were like, "What the heck is this apartment
I
complex?"
don't know anyone that's
And
ever lived there.
we
I've never
Go
even heard of
inside
it.
and it's just like raging.
It was
like,
so fun.
Is
Raging
that the one where people
party.
were like on the roof?
Yes.
Yes.
And the cops came.
Yeah, it was so
Shut it
fun.
Not like the roof
Is that
roof.
where we met them? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
because they were dancing on the
Yes.
little roof.
So there were 2 guys up on the roof.
Okay, but the roof
It
is
wasn't like a roof.
It's like a pool roof.
So it was
kind
low. It was like lowish to the
Low.
ground. Like you could
It was
climb
only
up
like
on
5
it.
feet up.
Yeah,
No,
like
yeah,
you could
it wasn't
climb up on
like
it.
the roof of a complex.
And so like there were a couple people up there, and there's 2 guys up there in like full shark costumes.
Okay, but it was
like,
the year. Tell them why they were. That
No,
was
I don't
the
think
year
that
of
was
the
the-
Katy Perry.
I don't think
concert,
that was
wasn't
that
it?
year. Cause
Left Shark?
It looked like it was that vibe though. Like
Do
the ones that are,
that is anymore?
No, yeah, Left
To
Shark.
be honest, I don't know what that
Left
is.
Shark.
It was the Super Bowl, like the left.
He like
anyway,
messed up when
Tell
he was
the story.
dancing.
That's all it is.
That's all it is.
There was
Yeah.
a shark in the Super Bowl halftime performance.
Oh.
and
I
he was
didn't
just
know
like
that was the
so
costume.
funny
yeah,
because
yeah.
And
He
so
like
everybody
messed up the
dressed as
dance.
that.
Yeah. I don't know if it was that year. It must have been.
Because why else would they have dressed that
Yeah,
way?
it
I don't
must
know. I
have
still
been.
I feel like I'd still dress that.
Yeah. Anyway, so they were dressed as that, like full on shark heads, so you couldn't even see their face really. And they came up to me and Sadie and were just chatting away, and we were like, "What the weird?" Like so random. And I think were also the days of Snapchat. They got our Snapchat and like, of course, were like snapping us. And I'm pretty sure that was the night before Halloween. So then the next night was like the big Halloween party on Center Street. Did we go to the Center Street one? Yeah. They don't even do that party anymore, which is so sad.
They don't?
No.
Is it just because of Corona or like?
No, I
they
don't think they
actually
did
don't?
it last year.
Oh.
Anyway, this is turning into a way longer story than it needs to be. But then we did not like I think we were doing some stuff earlier in the night, and they were like Snapchatting me and Sadie, and they were like, come to the Center Street party. But there are like hundreds of people at that party. Like, if you would never be able to meet up with anyone there because it's like loud and insane, and like, so anyways, we're like, whatever, like maybe we'll see them there, but like probably not. And so we go, and like just out of nowhere they like show up again, and they're like dancing in their shark suits again. And then like a week later, maybe even longer, I don't think we talked to them, but one of them like randomly asked me on a date, and I was like, what the heck? Like,
over Snapchat.
Did you
Snapchat.
even want to go on the date with him?
I don't know. I don't think.
I can't remember if you.
We never saw their faces. Like when we met, like they were literally in shark heads. So like we never saw their
They
faces.
could have been ugly.
That's some blind faith.
Yeah, and I feel like it ended up being. I actually remember it was snowing so hard that night, and I was like, he was like swerving on the road, driving like on top of snow, like it was one of those snows. But we went on a first date and nothing ever happened of it. But it was really, we all were like, oh, it's the shark boy.
Like, did you
shark
ever
boy's
learn
taking
his
Sid on a date.
Yeah, what was his name?
Oh,
we
not
can't
gonna
say
say
it. But did you know it?
Yeah.
I mean,
We
I
only
guess.
ever referred to him as Shark Boy.
Yeah,
I
everyone
never
was
knew his
like,
name.
everyone was like, oh, Sid's going on a date with Shark Boy. Like, here comes
You could
Shark
tell
Boy.
me his name was Mark, and I would fully believe it.
I think I probably know his name from his Snapchat. But
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
That's right.
Okay,
anyway, that was.
that
funny.
made me think of another one that I really want you to talk about. So, like we said, Sid got asked out a lot, and she never said no. Like, don't be afraid to say no, but she like always
But
felt
also,
that.
don't be afraid to say yes.
That's true.
That you
I
don't have
always feel
stories.
bad saying
Yeah,
no to
if
like
you-
a first date. Like,
Yeah.
if I
Give him a chance.
even if I really
That's kind of
didn't
how
want-
I was.
Yeah, even if I really didn't want to go, I was like, how can I say no to a first date?
I mean, unless
like,
you're worried about your safety.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't go on the date.
For sure.
But anyway, so there was this amazing football game, and Sid got stuck
Oh my gosh,
going on
I
this
forgot
horrible
about
date,
that.
and she got so mad because.
Was it with him?
No, that is another. Oh my
So
gosh,
tell him
it's
what
horrible.
happened on this date, and
Okay,
who, like what he
I'm
was.
gonna say that is
It was
such a funny
so
story. I'm so glad
funny.
you remembered that. So there was a guy who served his mission in Vegas. I was a senior in high school, and he was a missionary like in my ward, and my dad was the bishop at the time, so the missionaries were always over at our house. And it's awkward as like a senior in high school because the missionaries aren't that much older than
They're
you.
your age.
Like they're like pretty much your
But
age.
you can't like date him.
Yeah, so he goes home, and then I move up to Provo, and I'm in school or whatever, and he asked me on a date, which is like funny in and of itself. Like
Yeah.
the missionary from my home ward asked me out, but he went to BYU, Idaho, so he drives all the way down, and he took me to conference, which is like the most like classic date, I'm sure. So he like takes me to conference, and like honestly, we did not connect very well on the date, but it was fun, like we had fun. But when he drove down, he like brought his friend, and the friend like brought a girl too, so it was like a double date, and we like kind of hung out the whole weekend. So they go back, like we obviously didn't really connect, and then the friend like finds me on social media somehow, like Facebook or something like that, and asks me out, and I'm like, what the heck, like so weird.
That's
so
so
he was
weird.
like the one on the other date. I was on a date with a different guy, and he asked me out. He also lives in Idaho, so he's like, I'm gonna drive down to Provo and like take you out. Like,
Boys just do anything for Sid.
oh gosh, no. So I'm like, I felt really bad. I'm like, oh my gosh, like he's gonna drive all the way down from Idaho, and like, and he had planned to go to what's it called?
Something in Salt Lake.
No, it was Frightmares.
Oh.
Where is that at?
Oh.
Lagoon.
Which is
like,
even
near-
farther than Salt Lake. That's like an hour and a half from Provo.
Yeah, so he was gonna drive down to Provo, pick me up, and then we were gonna go all the way up to Lagoon, because it was like in October and it was Frightmares. And so I'm like, okay, and that was the night of the freaking BYU homecoming game. So it's like so fun. And like
Best
they
game
do,
ever.
Yeah, it's
So
so
fun.
fun.
Why don't
And
I
so-
remember this game?
I have pictures.
I think we stormed the field.
Is that the one?
Wasn't
where
it
we
the one?
stormed a few?
I think it was like a really good game.
Yeah, yeah, it ended up being like
We like
so
jumped
fun.
out of the
It was.
stands and stormed the field, and we told Sid how amazing it was.
Well, I was mad that I had to miss it anyway, so like they all leave, and I'm sitting in my apartment waiting for him to come, and I waited for so long, like an hour when he was like after he was supposed to come, and I was so mad because I was like I could have at least gone to like an hour of the football game, like I was so mad. And so he finally, like, calls me. I can't even remember what happened. I think he had, like, some issue with his car or something. And he's like, I'm running late, blah, blah, blah. And then at that point, it was getting, like, kind of late at night. Like, it was probably, like, 10. Oh, and so he's like, now we don't have time to go to Lagoon even. So I'm like, oh, my gosh.
You're like, turn back around. I'm just kidding.
Go back to Idaho.
Yeah, seriously. And so then he, like, comes, picks me up, and we did the lamest date ever. Like, maybe I shouldn't say it, because if people do that and, like, think it's really fun, then, like, I don't want to diss
No
them.
judgment.
Well, he drove all the way down, and then we, like, went to the dollar store, and, like, he bought, I don't even know what we bought at the dollar store, but he, like, bought stuff to do, like, caramel apples, and then he, like...
At the dollar store?
But that's, now that I'm saying it, I'm like, did we buy apples there? Like, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, like, I didn't know they had caramel.
I don't really remember the details. And then, but he didn't live here, and, like, I wasn't going to bring him back to my apartment, and so we, like, somehow got into, like, a church building, and we did it in, like, the kitchen of a church.
No.
How'd you even do
I
that?
do not remember this at
You
all.
guys, it was so, and I was just like, what is happening to me? I was so mad. And then he knew, like, someone in Provo, some random family, and he's like, let's go to their house and watch the end of the football game. I'm like, are you kidding me? I could have been there. And, like, what is happening? We're at some random family's house on their house, on their couch with the family, watching the end of the football game. And I was so mad.
I remember that.
He, like, dropped me off, and I feel like he, like, kept texting me after that, and I was just like,
ghost.
no.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was a really bad one. I totally forgot about that.
That is so funny.
Fun.
Okay, I gotta share this real quick.
Go ahead.
If any boys are watching this, or listening to this, I don't think any probably will, but keep the first dates short.
Totally.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not fun if the girl is not interested in you, like, she's gonna just play along
Be nice.
and be nice and, you know, just, like, dreading the rest of the date.
And then you don't spend
and
as
then
much
you-
money on
yeah.
this.
It's the worst.
You don't need to spend money on this.
No,
and you
no
don't
one
need to make it
cares.
extravagant.
Especially if you don't know them very well.
No.
Like, it's different if you're friends
Exactly.
before. But if you're
this
just,
is
like,
a-
randomly asking someone on a date,
Yeah.
you've got to keep it to, like,
You
an
go
hour,
to
an
ice
hour and a
cream.
half
Yep.
max.
My
Which
husband
brings me
said
to
he
my
always
next-
did ice
Yeah,
cream.
This story. So,
Makes me.
this is what happened. It was like a 3-hour date.
I do
It
remember
was
being
so
like,
late.
I know.
Well, I didn't.
thought
This
it
was
went
my
really
first
well.
date in Provo, so I was like super excited, and it was a double date. And my friend Megan, love her, she went on the date with me. And so she knew the guy that I went on a date with, so they both, like, set each other up. And he was a cute kid, and so we go to, first of all, we drive separate, which I guess is fine, but, like, if you're doing a double date and
It's
you
more
both
fun to
live
be
in the
together.
same complex, like, Megan and I lived in the same complex, like, why would you,
Just pick them up.
right?
Yeah,
You know,
it's
that's what I'm
weird.
saying. So I'm like, okay, they want to do something after.
That's what we thought. We were like, where is she?
So anyways, we get to the kid's house, and he puts in cookies, and first of all, I can't eat the cookies because I have celiac disease. But they smelled really
Mistake
good,
number one.
and so then we started painting pillowcases. So I'm like, okay,
Which
this
is I'm
Weird.
sorry, that's a weird
Weird.
activity.
right. I'm like, okay, but whatever. It's my first date. Maybe that's what Provo people do.
Some of them do.
So, and then they're
Clearly.
like, we're gonna go take these cookies to the old folks' home. And I'm like, okay, that's so fun. Let's do this. So we make the cookies, we paint the pillowcases, we drive to the old folks' home, and we give the cookies to them, and they're so happy. And then they're like, okay, let's go to Bombay House, which is a bomb restaurant. It's Indian food.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like,
it's our
okay, it's
favorite.
pretty expensive, so that's kind of nice that he's taking us there.
Yeah.
So this is where I thought
you.
the date would end, is at the Bombay House, because I'm like, okay, we did the little activity, and then you gave me dinner.
Goodbye.
See you later. So he gets more
Picturing the
comfortable with me, and I'm like, okay, I'll hold your hand. So we were holding hands in the car.
No.
And so then we get back to his house, and I'm like, why wouldn't you just take me home? Like, my apartment that we lived in
It's
was
so
like
close.
5 minutes away
Yeah.
from where we ate. And we went all the way back to his house, and he wasn't even in the word boundaries.
He wasn't on board, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
But
lot of
he
people had
lived-
variances.
Yeah, that's so weird. So he freaking lived far. And so we get to his house and he's like, let's watch a movie. And I'm already irritated at this point
know what's going to happen when you watch a movie.
I had school the next day.
That's right.
It was a Friday night and Saturday. I'm like, okay, I can't really watch a movie. I told him, I was like, well, it has to be something quick because I got school tomorrow and it's early. And so he's like, okay, yeah, let's go upstairs. And the one friend his friend who's on the date with my friend was like, I call top bunk. And I'm like, top bunk?
Bunk?
That's what I go for.
And let me remind you guys, I had only kissed 2 boys before
Oh, you had?
In high
this
school, you
boy.
didn't
Yeah,
kiss very many.
I only kissed 2 boys in high school. So I was kind of nervous. I'm like, this is kind of weird. I don't do beds,
Bunk.
especially bunk beds. I'm like, what's happening? So he's got a TV, and his friend and my friend are sitting at the top bunk just talking, and I'm literally crouched down on the bottom bunk just like watching him, and for some reason he can't figure out the TV. I'm like,
Isn't it his?
is this a trick? Like, what's happening? Is this your, like, some sort of scheming? So he's like, oh, the TV doesn't work. And I'm like, okay. In my head, I'm just like, take me home. So he comes, oh my gosh, it is, like, making me cringe. He comes under the bed and, like, grabs me and, like, rolls me over.
Oh.
And I'm like, I think of the story about Marley with Man Bun, and where she's like, he just wants me to kiss him and then I can go home. So that's running through my mind. So I'm like, okay, maybe I should just kiss this guy so I can go home.
Horrible logic. Don't do
So
that.
don't do that, ladies.
And that's running through my mind.
So he like starts kissing me and then he like growls in my ear. And I'm like, it literally lasted like maybe 30 seconds. And I'm like, okay, I really have to go home.
Like it was like just a
Yeah, it
kiss. Or like,
Like,
Okay.
was he like making out with you?
Yeah, he was
I mean-
making out with me. But it really,
you can't
maybe
just
like,
kiss. You have to get
maybe like
a
a minute. I don't
Okay,
know.
okay,
It was,
wasn't
it
long.
honestly was so short because I was so uncomfortable.
cringe-worthy amount of time.
Yeah, and he growled in my ear, and I think I laughed. I was like so uncomfortable. I was like, "This dude, seriously?" And you could tell afterwards. He was like, oh, "Yeah, like I kissed her. Like he felt like he's on top of the world."
Oh no.
And I was just, at this point, I was really grossed out with him. And he took me home. So his friend took my friend home, where we lived again, the same complex.
So
And the guy, yeah, and so I'm driving home and he starts singing that Red Hot Chili Peppers song.
What?
I forget. The one's like, I don't ever wanna be.
Keep going. I know that song, but
So he totally ruined that song for me. I was like, why are you singing this to me? So you get there, and he just parks the car. We're sitting in front of Alpine Village, and he just looks at me and leans in, and so we kiss, and people are walking by. I'm like, is this the norm? Like, what is happening? And he pulls away, and he goes, delicious. Better than Indian food.
I was like, it's shocking. It's
I was
honestly shocking.
I hope I'm better than Indian food.
Every time I hear it,
How
disgusting.
random is that? It was so weird.
That's
And
not
the whole
something
time
you
I was
say.
like, I can't wait to tell my roommates
You came
this story.
in and we
Oh,
were
You were like,
my
you
we
guys,
were
like
probably
immediately.
screaming.
With
Well,
your
because
little
I was gone
pillowcase
for,
in
like,
hand.
Yeah, you took
hours.
the pillowcases. and
Yeah,
sitting
I threw that pillowcase away. I was like scarred from that day. I was like, this guy's creepy. Like, oh.
That was so.
But the
so
worst
weird.
thing is we saw him like for a whole year after that, like every
He
Sunday.
wasn't our
I know,
word.
because
yeah.
We'd always like stare at him and he like knew.
And then Lucas, freaking Lucas, my husband now, he would send me like memes and he's like, oh, this was before him and I were dating. He was like, there's your future husband, like up on the pulpit.
Oh,
and I was like,
gosh.
stop.
Yeah, that was so bad.
That one's,
But-
man, you've got some good ones.
I know. It's like,
Man.
That was so
dude,
bad.
do not say delicious. Like, that's a creepy.
That
It
is
just
not
like
so
comes
funny.
off.
Man.
I feel like that's
Weird.
like a lead into Madison's weird one.
The first one?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have another really weird one. So, like I
Similar,
said,
I feel like.
I was up here 2 years before they were, and I didn't have like cool friends. Like when I first
Not
came,
as cool as us.
they're way cooler, and I met like cuter guys that were like so more my level. I don't know why. Like my freshman year, there just weren't like they were cute guys, but they were weird.
Yeah.
They were just like really weird. I think it's because I lived on campus and I didn't live
Oh,
in
I
Alpine
Yeah,
Village.
we lived where all the older guys
Yeah,
lived.
and so at first I lived like on BYU's campus, and so everybody was my age, and they were like 18-year-old boys, and that's just like not okay.
Don't mess around. Don't mess around with someone your age.
Pre-mission, not anyway. So there was this guy, and he was actually really attractive, like super cute, totally like pretty boy. That was like my type. I thought he was so cute, and
Is Dallin a pretty boy?
I don't know. To me, he's kind of scruffier now, but I thought so.
Making her blush.
I'm just kidding.
But he doesn't act like one. That was the point. I liked pretty boys, but I didn't like pretty boy personalities.
Yeah.
I like them to be, I don't know, chiller than that. But anyway, so this kid, somehow he asked me out, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, to my best friend, Courtney, was my roommate, and so, like, we were cool, but then, like, everybody else that we lived with, we were like, oh my gosh. Like,
Yeah, you had some weird roommates.
well, not at first. I had some cool ones, but then, like, literally, like, the next semester, they were just, like, really weird. And anyway, so I was like, he asked me out. Like, this is the dream date. This is the cute guy in the ward. I'm so excited. So I went out with him, like, maybe once, and it was just normal. And then, like, we went out probably 4 times in all, and he started, like, each date getting really, like, touchy with me, and I was not a touchy person. I had only kissed 2 people in high school, too, and I hadn't even, like, made out with anyone, sadly enough to say. I had not. So
McCall's the complete opposite.
we're very different sisters.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, so I go on like this 3rd date with him, and my roommate Courtney had a boy over too, and we were just watching a movie. And we hadn't kissed yet, but he was like so affectionate. Like when I'd sit somewhere, he'd just like rub my legs or like hold my hand, and I was like
I don't
going
like being
along
touched.
with it, but I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I just felt weird. And
And so you shouldn't be afraid to,
yeah, I know.
you know.
But when you're
say
18,
something.
like Sadie said, like you just don't know when you first get there. So don't be afraid to like if that's not your
Set
scene.
your boundaries.
Don't
Yeah.
do it. So
I would have been like, no, thank you, bye.
yeah, just like push their hand off or something.
Yeah.
Just like let them know it's not what you want.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we were watching this movie, and I remember after Courtney's date was like, how long have those guys been dating? And she's like, I don't know, they've been on like 2 dates. And he thought we had been dating for like a long time. The way that he like would hold me during the movie.
Ugh,
And so
so
like
uncomfortable.
he had his arm around me, and he was like kind of like rubbing like my butt and stuff, and like he's just
What?
weird. And so he like leans in. I thought he was gonna like kiss like my head or like my shoulder. But I'm uncomfortable when I'm on a date with somebody else, like a double date.
Yeah, that's awkward.
I do not like affection in public. Like
Yeah,
that's
that's
just
weird.
so
Even
weird.
now, being
Oh,
married,
no,
I don't.
I would never like
Yeah, that's weird.
even kiss. If I tell Dallin all the time, I'm like, we should just kiss right here, and he's like, no, we're not doing that. Like never in public. But anyway, he goes into like what I thought was kiss my ear, and he bites it. He like nibbles on my
Weird.
earlobe, and I was like, I literally sat there.
How did you not
so
laugh?
weird
I
because
would
you
have
hadn't
laughed.
even kissed.
No, we
like,
hadn't kissed yet.
Yeah, it wasn't like this was mid-makeout. This
Yeah.
is
No, and
just chilling.
and so literally like
street chillers.
I just had
Ear
like
biting.
goosebumps down my neck, and I just felt like super straight and just like didn't like
I can
respond to
so
anything.
picture her like that.
I was just like, no. And then afterwards, like he brings me outside because I lived in that apartment, but like he was gonna go back to his. And I thought, well, okay, like he's probably gonna kiss me then, because like that was pretty affectionate. Like that was weird. But he like holds both my hands and is like standing in front of me, and he's like, good night, and he kisses my forehead.
What?
And I was like, I'm so confused.
Maybe he got the vibe.
I know, because after that, I just like didn't try anymore.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, you like didn't try to kiss me. Maybe you were nervous, but you also did the weirdest crap. Like I don't understand.
That was so uncomfortable.
So like he didn't even try to ask me out again, and I just didn't even like acknowledge him again. But it was just so like I don't know why boys are so weird. Like why why would you do
that was weird.
Yeah, that's a weird boundary to just hop over.
Yeah.
With people in
Biting
the
your
room.
ear. That's
Hurdle.
awkward.
There was like the line, he hurdled it.
Yeah, he skipped it over.
I'll finish off with saying that there are some really sweet ones. Like, I'll share my sweet one.
Yeah, share a good one.
Because guys aren't all that bad, you know. Don't be afraid. But in high school, I was dating this guy, and we were going to move away from each other, and he decided to, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was, like, throw the holidays for a whole day. Like,
that he was going to miss
reenact-
seeing with you.
yeah, like, reenact, and we had been dating for a year, so this wasn't, like, a marathon date out of, like, the get-go. Like, that'd be really weird. So he reenacted like every holiday all in one day. And that was just really cute. I just always, like, the thought that was put into it. Like, I woke up and it was Christmas, I think, and it was like he was at my house and he like gave me a Christmas present, and then we went and it was like my birthday.
Didn't you watch like a Christmas movie?
Yeah,
or
maybe
something?
we like watched
Did you,
a
like,
Christmas
decorate?
movie. Yeah, my mom had like decorated a little bit.
He asked me and my mom for help on this too. It was
and,
so
like,
cute.
We celebrated my birthday, and then we like ate Thanksgiving food, and we like went trick-or-treating. Like, he had like asked a few neighbors to like have candy and stuff. Like,
so cute.
it's so cheesy, so absolutely cheesy, but it was really cute and thoughtful. And I know
That's cute.
Did you
Yeah.
end on Valentine's
Especially
Day?
in high school. It's like,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, that was like
Yeah.
a
I
lot
don't
of
think any
effort.
other
so much
high
effort.
school dude.
I honestly
Yeah.
don't remember how
I think
the
you
date went.
ended on Valentine's Day at that place that you guys went for Valentine's Day.
No, I
That
think
restaurant?
it was New Year's. I think we ended on New Year's.
Oh, okay.
So we like pretended it was New Year's, obviously, and midnight like counted down and had like Martinelli's and stuff like that.
So
but
fun.
it was just fun. So not every date is bad.
No.
So
But I'll tell another bad one.
I know, I've got a lot of those.
I feel like
There's
this
a
is
lot
my
of
top.
them.
Like, anytime I get asked like my worst date, I always tell this one.
Always.
It
This
is
hiking
so
one?
bad.
Hiking
Yes.
one.
Oh,
Oh,
I
the
can't.
hiking.
Because
Yeah.
we were home
I
when I
know.
came home. So it was a guy, again, in our ward, and I feel like he was new to our ward, actually. And then the new semester of school started, and that was when McCall was still at UVU, and we were going to school together, and we had a math class. Me and McCall had a math class together.
that was so much fun, by the way.
It was so fun. And I think I actually had to switch out of that class because it wasn't for my major. But for this time, we were in the same math class, and that new kid in our ward randomly was in our math class too.
Mhm.
And so he like sat by us, and one day McCall wasn't there in class.
I was in Hawaii, right?
I think so, yeah.
Best
I
trip
remember
ever.
this.
The one time
You, like,
McCall
called me
wasn't
crying.
there, and he like sits next to me in class because we had like always sat next to each other, and like as we're walking out of class, he asked me what I was doing for the weekend, and I stupidly said that I wasn't doing anything, but he
Always
was like,
have an excuse.
yeah, it's like I was
Always
just like,
sound
oh, like,
busy.
well, and it
Check
was
my
kind of
schedule.
weird too because we were like walking out of class, like he kind of said it like in passing, and I was just like, oh, like I don't know, nothing probably. And he was like, oh, like we should hang out. They also lived in our apartment complex, and I was probably like, oh, sure, whatever.
Well,
like
he was a cute kid too.
yeah, he was pretty cute. So I was probably just like, oh, like whatever. Like I didn't really think anything of it. He didn't have my number or anything, so I was like, yeah, whatever. And then he DMs me on Instagram and is like, I'm serious, like let's go out tonight. Like I'll pick you up at this time, blah blah blah. I'm like, oh boy, like I did not know I was signing up for a date when I said that I wasn't doing anything this weekend. And I think it was like in January.
Didn't you ask
It
him what
was
you
in
should
January.
wear or
Yeah,
something?
because it was in January, and so he was like, he wouldn't tell me. It was my freaking biggest pet peeve. He would not tell me what we were doing. So I was like, that's cute and all to try and surprise me, but like it's really not cute when it's 20 degrees outside and snowing. Like if we're going sledding, then I need to know. But like
Yes.
if we're painting inside, then like
I need to know.
it's different. So I'm like, so I was trying to ask him. I was like, okay, like that's fine. You don't have to tell me,
What
but like,
shoes?
what do I need to wear? Like, are we gonna be outside? And I feel like he really didn't give me a
He
straight
didn't,
answer. Like he
because
couldn't
you would have
tell me.
dressed.
I would have dressed totally different. So I was wearing, like, I had my big coat on because it was cold, but I just had like little like tennis shoes on and like jeans.
They were Vans.
Yeah, like I had Vans on and like jeans. Like
No grip.
yeah, like I was just like chilling, but like I had my big coat on, so I was warm. So anyways, we went to the Midway Ice Castles, which was actually really fun, and like but kind of weird. It was like just a date with just us two. Like we weren't with like anyone else.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was fun, whatever. I hadn't been. And so, and also, backstory, I don't know why, but I just had a feeling that I should tell him that I needed to be home at a certain time before we went. Like, I don't think I really had anything. Maybe there was like a party or something that like all of our friends were going to that I really didn't need to go to, like if I wanted to go on the date. But for some reason I was like, yeah, I can go at 6, but like I have to be home at 8 or whatever. Like I have something at 8. And, which I normally didn't do, like, I don't think I'd ever done that before. So anyways, we'd go to the Midway Ice Castles, and it had been, like, an hour, and so I'm like, okay, like, we're probably just gonna go home. So he's driving down the canyon, and he, like, whips off the road in the middle of the canyon, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, where are we going? He's like, oh, I'm just gonna show you this spot. So he, like, whips off the canyon, and there's, like, this spot on, like, it's in Provo Canyon. There's like a bridge kind of that just goes over. Yeah, it goes over the highway. And he's like, okay, we're going to go up there. And it was like the top of the tunnel that went over the highway. And I'm like, excuse me? And so then he's like, yeah, come on, like, you'll be fine. And
it's
but I'm like, it's just us.
So. It's also 20 degrees and, like,
and
snow.
also,
it's also freezing.
These tunnels are, like, carved out of a mountain. Like, they're not just, like, a bridge. It's, like,
it's
literally
in the middle
mountain.
of the canyon, yeah. And so he's like, yeah, you'll be fine, like, come on. So we're literally, like, scaling the side of the mountain. Snowy mountain. Like, it's so snowy. I'm, like, gripping onto trees. Like, my feet are, like, slipping out. I'm in Vans.
This is not Sydney's element.
No,
I'm not outdoorsy. I'm not outdoorsy at all. So I'm like freaking out. So I like climb at the top. Like my whole body was like numb. And then he wanted me to sit on like the ledge and hang our feet over the highway. And I got up there and I literally was like, I'm not sitting down. And he was like, yes, like sit down. And I was like, first of all, there's snow. So I'm not sitting on the snow. And I'm not going to hang my feet over the highway. Like, this is just so crazy. So I'm like, I'm not sitting down.
He just did not get Sid's vibe.
He did not. He did not understand. And so then I'm pretty sure he made me end up sitting down. So then my legs were soaking wet with, like, snow. Like, so cold. Anyways, I pretty much slid down the mountain, like, on my butt. And I remember being so cold. Like, I could not feel my feet. Like, I was so cold. And so he's, like, blasting the heat. I'm like, I was probably complaining like so much.
Oh, you're so funny.
And so then we're driving down and I'm like, okay, like for sure we're going home right now. Like I'm soaking wet, so like obviously we're going home. Again, right, like the light before you would like turn into our apartment, he just turns the other way and like whips off the road again. I'm like, we were so close. Where are we? I almost started crying. I was like, I just want to go home. I'm like freezing cold, soaking wet. He whips off the road again and drives to like the Provo Temple, and there's like a park, like a grassy park down there. And he's like, we're walking over to like there's like, I think it's a water tower, some sort of big water tower that's like at the bottom of the park down there. And he's like, okay, we're going to climb up there to the top. And I'm like, no, we're not. I'm like, no, we're not. And
he just needed an outdoorsy girl.
I'm like, I'm not doing it. Like, I remember being like, no, like, I'm not doing it. And he was like, come on, like, you can. And I was like, nope, I can't. Like, I'm really not going to do that.
Maybe in the summer, but literally.
Also, it was wet. And I was like, why do you want to be at the top of a water tower with me? Like, I'm not about to, like, make out with you right now. Like, this isn't a thing.
Also, like, I am mad at you.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know what you're trying to do here.
I've been on top of that water tower, and it's kind of creepy to walk on. Like, you're like, is this going to just, like, sink in like, at any moment?
So
it's not
weird.
like,
it also like,
fragile.
kind of feels, like, sketchy. Like,
well, it's private property.
Yeah,
really
it's
not
totally
supposed to go up there.
Yeah, so I'm like, so I feel like he eventually was like, no, we're going. Like, I'm pretty sure he climbed up, and I was like, I'm not going. Like, I'm not climbing up. And I think I ended up climbing up.
Did you climb up?
I feel like I didn't.
Just sat there at the bottom and said no.
Honestly, I can't remember. I really can't remember. If I did, I feel like it was like for a second. I was like, hey, cool, saw it. Like, let's go. It's not like there's like a view or anything. Like,
Provo
it's just
has
like,
no view.
Yeah, it was so weird. And so I'm like, let's go. So again, luckily, I told him that I had to be home. So I was like, look at the time. Gotta go home. And then I, like, came inside, or as I was jumping out of his car, I, like, looked down at my ankles, and they were, like, bloody. Like, all, like, open sores, like, bloody. I think just from, like, climbing.
Being so cold.
Just being so cold and, like, climbing up the mountain or something. Maybe they got scratched or something, but I was like, this is the final straw. Like, I am so mad.
Did you come in crying?
I came in crying.
I remember
was
you, like, you called me crying.
yeah,
that
I came in crying. I was like, that was the worst thing ever. Oh my gosh.
I remember that.
It was
That
so
sounds so awful.
so bad.
Oh man.
Oh,
Well,
wait.
and when you just, he's the cousin of that
Yeah.
one boy
Yeah, they're related.
who said that he dated me and
Oh.
told my cousin, okay, we're just gonna say names.
This is just like a neighbor.
No, the
No, this
boys
is
are-
just a neighbor
I'm not gonna,
across the hall from us.
this is not their names, but just so you guys can follow along. We'll say Jimmy
Was
is the guy that you went on a date with.
his cousin,
And
they
Mark-
worked together.
Yeah, was the guy who said
That
he
kept
went on a
asking
date.
you
So
out.
Mark told Jimmy that he kept asking me out, and we went on a date, and that something happened, and he turned me down. Like, I wanted to date him,
And he was like, no.
and he was like, yeah. And so then Jimmy went on a date with my cousin, and he told her that. And so she obviously told me, and I was like, wait, what?
You're like, none of that
I'm like,
happened.
You're like,
If
Mark.
anything, I turned him down because no offense to any short boys, but he was shorter. He was shorter than me, and I didn't want to go on a date with him because him and his friend wanted to take Madison and I on a date, and we were like,
They were
not
so-
really interested.
Well, because his friend was cute, but he was weird, like mysterious
yeah, he
about
was
things.
kind of like quiet and different.
Yeah,
They
They're
were
all
so-
married
that
now.
just made
All
me
of them.
really irritated.
Really?
I was like, okay.
Also, I had a bad experience, so then who knows what would have happened if
Right?
you actually went on a date with him.
I know.
Yeah.
I had a
I had
bad
a bad experience.
Well, what we're getting from this is like,
First of all,
boys-
tell the girls if you don't really want to go on a date, tell them that you need to be home by a certain time.
yes.
So that they
Always as a
don't
backup.
freaking take you 3-4
We
hours
had
on a date.
so many. Like, I'll just do really short just to show you all boys can do this. I had the creepiest. Okay, they at least had like cute dates. When I first came to college, I'd like dream about going out with these guys, and like their roommates would always be the one to like hit on me. One guy, I worked at the athletic department at BYU, so there was all these cute boys all the time.
Yeah, you
The
had the hookup.
athletes.
But literally, like, only a couple of the athletes actually asked me out, and like most of the time, the tutors at this athletic department would ask me out. Like the cute athletes' tutors would ask me out, and I was like, how did that happen? That's not what I came here for. So this one creepy bald
Oh no.
27-year-old, when I was like 20 years old, was like,
Gasp.
his husband's like 7 years older than her.
8.
Anyway, he like asked me out, and he did not have a
Creepo.
plan, just like some of Sid's dates. And we went to go to like wait outside to get tickets in the freezing cold in like November for this like comedy show, and we didn't get tickets. So then we just sat there, and he's like, "Do you want to go to an escape room?" And I'm like, "Okay."
Like,
Like,
you little fetcher.
So,
Yeah,
wait, yeah.
seriously, like, why would you ask someone out and then not have a
not
plan?
have a plan. Well, that just shows you he was not the personality for me.
Yeah.
Like, obviously that's why he wasn't married or like
Yeah.
dating, right? But anyway, so that always happened to me until like you just have to, I guess I was gonna say like advice wise, be yourself and don't be afraid that you can't get the cute guys, because we all got really cute guys in the end. And
It worked out.
by the last year, like me and Sid were the last ones that weren't married, and we were like living life the summer like before we got married. We had tons of dates with really cute guys because we were confident and
Yeah.
like fun. You gotta find girls.
I definitely think the more you date, the more comfortable
Oh,
and
yeah.
confident you are in dating.
and you
Like,
need
Yeah,
good
for
girlfriends
sure.
that
Which is why
can
you
back
date.
you up.
Yeah.
Because don't be afraid to go on dates, you know.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think that's a good
ending. point.
We have so many, but we'll have to
Yeah,
maybe
we'll
do
have to
another
cut it
one.
short
Part
because
2 later.
there's so
Babies
many.
need
Nate's
to go.
babysitting Miles and
My husband.
Practice. He's practicing for when
Nate's-
your baby comes.
I don't think he's ever been left alone with a baby.
he's probably
Miles is struggling out there.
Thanks for listening
Yeah.
again. If you made it all the way through, we hope you guys come back again.
Share with your friends, share with your moms,
Yeah.
share with your cousins, your dogs.
Share with the boys. So
Yeah,
that
boys.
And
The
we have,
husbands.
we have lots of ideas to come, but we honestly want to hear what other like wives or young girls like want to hear advice from us, or
Yeah.
even
Yeah,
just
like any
just
questions.
stories. Yeah.
Any questions?
We will
or
talk about
stuff to
awkward stuff. We will talk about like
Email
fun
us.
stuff. Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, our email.
hit us up on our Instagram is probably the easiest
Yeah.
way.
in our
Yeah.
DMs.
It's the Wives Club podcast, but
Make sure we have
It
it right.
is wives_club_podcast.
on Instagram. So
Yeah.
thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.